Of our research for Co-optus UK is actually we're looking at the concept of WorkerTech, and the goal is actually to make to say how can we make the life of the self-employed people not just as good as permanent work, but actually make it better. And the key findings actually so far are actually to parallel work done on fintech and say actually how has fintech been successful? How has that managed to curate technology and actually move forward? How can we do the same for WorkerTech? And we've actually started by actually looking at actually the key objectives of that, which I just talked about, but also like 4 principles of actually where it would fit in to articulate it in the business landscape, which is basically the first one is to actually help people to find work. Second one is actually to help them with their contracts and their payments. The third one is their long-term life as a self-employed person. And the fourth one is to actually help them to organise. The recognition is there's lots of technology already out there that does a lot of these things, but the key goal is how can we link these things together? Actually, as opposed to actually being separate buckets of data, but actually make it a full stream of data that we can actually pull together. And that's the goal. So we're taking it on 2 levels. One, actually articulate it on a business level. Actually, what are we trying to achieve and for whom are we trying to achieve it? And the second level is actually technology-wise, how could it be done? And the output of our research is actually with those business goals clearly articulated. And the second one is actually with a sort of a feasibility goal for the technology, then to be taken forward and actually developed in more detail with the technical people. Actually say yes, we would achieve this by actually producing this in the cloud using these microservices technology or open APIs, and then on the business level saying right, if I've gone to a jobs platform, what information would I like to actually pull back off it afterwards? If I actually, for my long-term life as a self-employed person, what sort of information do I need to actually easily fire up an insurance product actually as a mutual? And also importantly, how can I actually organise with other people when I've actually organised commercially? How can we actually then work commercially together and actually even band together to actually push together to get other rights?
And so the key takeaways then, if you're either someone who would be involved with the policy side or as a freelancer, what are the key takeaways that you've discovered from this?
The key takeaways are that actually technology can be an empowerment to the self-employed. Actually, it's not actually, we don't have to be the servants of the self-employed. It's actually giving people, the self-employed can actually provide them with bargaining power actually by bringing them together commercially, and actually can bring them together actually in terms of a group that can actually organise together. And on the commercial side, actually, once we've actually got people actually with strong, sustained actually careers, actually long-term as self-employed, actually you've got a stronger workforce that can actually maintain itself as better trained. And the big difference is really that my current generation, we have the choice of going to work self-employed. The next generation isn't going to have that choice necessarily, and actually so we've actually got to put stuff in to actually help people through. Now we can wait forever for government to actually try and come up with something, but actually in the past the response to the Industrial Revolution was actually mutuals, unions and cooperatives actually came and created institutions and technologies to actually make it happen. Now that's just going to happen again in the digital revolution, and that's the hole that WorkerTech helps to fill.